for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Marasini?
Here.
Mr. Schuster?
Here.
Ms. Tucker? Here. Mr. Baradelli?
Here. Public participation.
Do you want to adjourn from regular order of business to get these people said they would like to address the authority?
You want to do it now or at the end of the meeting? Because then we'll go to executive session at the end of the meeting and talk about it.
And still bought a lot. Do it at that?
Doesn't matter to me.
You gotta pay this charge, man.
I'm just saying, you know, listen to what they have to say, get it over with. That's what we normally do. That's why I just mentioned it. It don't matter to me.
Bring them in there. Bring them in there.
Yeah, bring them and get it over with.
Who else we got for public participation?
I don't see anybody on there, George.
Just them?
Yeah, they, in the
Okay.
agenda, it said they wanted to address the board.
Nobody else though?
Yeah, but you have them people waiting here
Oh,
for
you're
like
just
35,
watching?
40 minutes.
That's why I suggested
Do
just
it
have
now.
them do it now.
Yeah. You're gonna make the motion, I'll second it. Executive session.
Right after this.
That way you don't have to wait.
We're going to now phone executive session?
No, we're gonna let these guys talk first.
That's on
We'll do
executive
executive
session.
session later. Okay, what do you want to propose to us?
Sure. So, my name is Richard Walton, owner of Western Rhine Landfill, my partner next door. Hi. I'll just make introductions. Shay is our water specialist. Brian is on board. He is our landfill engineer. Came over from Waste Management. Kit is our lawyer. So one thing we wanted to propose was we were looking at installing a pretreatment system in our at our landfill facility. You know, obviously we've had some issues with Bell Vernon, and you know, we're looking at different options right now. You know, we had a historical relationship here, and you know, we wanted to you know, begin a dialogue essentially of what it would require to, from a pretreatment standpoint, to bring water to your facility. Obviously, you have a much larger facility than Bell Vernon. And, you know, our key issue had been dissolved solids and ammonia. So, you know, we had proposed something that, you know, we think would be able to address those concerns and make taking our water a moot point for your facility. Additionally, we put in some flow control as well. So, in terms of the large amounts of flow that and the variability that had been going on at Bell Vernon, we have, you know, gotten rid of that. So I put together a couple slides to share with everyone, and wanted to show you guys and just kind of, you know, be able to begin a dialogue to.
What kind of chemicals are in the water?
You know, our leachate. I mean, Shay, you could probably speak.
You
to
said
that.
dissolved solids or suspended solids?
Dissolved, and there's some suspended just a little bit, but.
So our leachate quality hasn't changed in 7 years. From a wastewater perspective, it's pretty benign. One of the challenges with Bell Vernon is they're a very small plant, and they just received a new MPDS permit about a year ago, and some additional levels of testing and some parameters that were important to them. So, you know, we spent a lot of time working with engineers and vendors on a pretreatment plan that would, you know, significantly reduce a lot of potential issues to you guys. So,
Give our engineer.
Yeah, sure. Jason.
Yes, correct.
Where's your voice?
so
Let's talk for Nate.
Here, you could. Oh, you got one? Okay.
Yeah. Good. Print a bunch.
Thank you.
So a primary vendor that we'll be working with is Pentair. So a lot of the stuff you'll see coming from Pentair. Pentair is a multi-billion-dollar company that specializes in wastewater treatment and advanced separations. So here we go, on the first page, you kind of go through our process where it starts on flow control, which we've installed, so we can limit our flows and use 1 million gallons of on-site storage to not to exceed, 50,000 gallons a day, or whatever, gallon per day that the authority is comfortable with, but we have adequate on-site storage to control flows. And then, Pentair has designed a process that has a very advanced, basically an oil and hydrocarbon separator. So it removes 98% of all the hydrocarbons that are in our oil, which when we've tried treatment in the past, that was one of the reasons that we had some issues when we did some on-site treatment, is that we saw hydrocarbons, oil start building up, oil, fats, and greases start building up in the media, and that would create separation challenges. So all that's going to be removed in the Pentair process, and it removes 95% or more of all suspended solids as well. So from that process, we go to a bioreactor process. So it's a biological system. We're going to throw a lot of oxygen into an 18,000 gallon tank and totally oxygenate it with some chemical additives as well, like hydrogen peroxide, to increase the biological process and to almost totally remove ammonium nitrogen, which is another potential concern. So we, all the key parameters that, I think that you all would be concerned with. I mean, we're reducing them by 50% or greater. If you go to kind of slide 3, it shows, some of the results of this process. Everything that we're doing here is totally proven. Bioreactors are used all over the place, including municipal sewage treatment plants. It's allowing, with the help of oxygen, allowing the microbes to kind of do their job on the organic material that's in the wastewater. And so we're overbuilding our bioreactor for a 9-hour retention time to allow for the oxygen to really do its job. So here we modeled like what our 2-year average is on all these parameters. All these are kind of what we identified as the key things that a sewage authority like yourselves might be concerned with. So on everything, it's at least a 50% reduction, and some of the key things that are going to be really, really low are ammonium nitrogen with the bioreactor. The hydrocarbons are going to be removed completely, so no oil, diesel, anything like that getting into your process. Metals are going to be significantly reduced, especially the ones that are insoluble, like barium, for example. It's a 99% reduction. And then we're going to remove total dissolved solids by half. And it's important to note that 50,000 gallons a day is 1% of your flow capacity. So we feel like that, in addition to some of the steps we're making, is really going to be a benign addition to your treatment. And,
what are your BODs running at?
We don't test for BODs.
We can't have large quantities of BOD, because that's going to upset us.
So the bioreactor process would significantly reduce all that stuff. I mean, it's basically doing what your process does from a biological standpoint before it even gets here. So I think that's the important note. There. Anything that requires a biological process will have already occurred. Biological oxygen demand will have already occurred in our process.
And you guys were with Ross Straver, correct?
Bell Vernon.
We were with Bell Vernon. So Bell Vernon is a 1 million gallon a day capacity system. And we did not have flow control at the time when we were working with Bell Vernon. So we had some days where we were, a couple 100,000 gallons, and that was a significant discharge to them, for them to deal with.
All of this is in place right now?
Our flow control is in place, and the rest of this is we've made orders, and it's basically on the shelf, ready for us to purchase.
We wouldn't seek to do anything until it's in place. So the point being is that we part of our discussion is that the DEP wants us to talk to see what require on your end to accept the water, right? So if there was something in addition to that, or that's not needed, then I think that's what we're trying to come to, like a.
Okay, you're gonna have to work with Jason, our engineer.
And our lab people.
I think,
Could we handle this
I can't answer that.
right now? Okay.
I mean, we looked at the constituent values that they were producing previously, and we informed them that the plant could not handle that, so that's why they're proposing pretreatment.
We've talked to Jason in the past about some other pretreatment ideas that we had, and I feel like we've gone kind of above and beyond what some of the
Wait,
notes from.
they have talked to you before?
Yeah, through Tom and myself.
Yep, they brought proposed agreement here as well.
Do we know about it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this was in the
Yeah.
past?
Yep, we've had communication with these gentlemen before. They met with Tom and I, brought a proposed agreement that was disseminated to the board as well,
When was this?
several months ago.
Yeah,
8,
probably
10.
be six, maybe longer than that, 6 months ago, yeah.
8, 10 Yeah, months ago. we've informed the board that we've had discussion with them.
You're willing to work with our lab and our guys?
Yeah, absolutely. We, I think, as it relates to our current water quality, we compare our water quality to other, look at other landfills, and there's nothing in our site that is different than any coming from any landfill. Obviously, we've had some bad politics and some bad press, but we really feel like the science is very sound. As it relates to the size of your plant, the influent quality of our current leachate and the quality of the leachate that we're proposing to do post-treatment at this point. Essentially, we will have drastically reduced dissolved solids, very limited amounts of ammonia, very limited amounts of any hydrocarbons or any other, and be able to control the flow so that it would have, a very limited impact. It essentially no impact on your plant is the way that our analysis plays out. Now I understand that we might be making assumptions that vary from your assumptions, but we think that the math is essentially the math, right? It's just a total amount of water. You have a current effluent level that's a certain quality. You have a certain quality effluent level that you have to meet based upon your NPDES permit, and our water won't even begin to touch what is impacting.
What about
even now it would.
Isotopes?
There's no radioactive whatsoever.
I mean, there was reports going around.
Yeah,
That
but
There's a lot of reports.
it's going around over the whole state.
No, I understand, but there's no radioactive isotopes like that are impacting the water that are of meaningful or
The DEP test for that, or they don't?
So we have every load that may be radioactive is a very specific protocol. It's not a business really that we are in. We have fixed radiation sensors at the scale that have to be updated annually and follow very specific protocols, calibrated. Exactly. We take in, if anything trips the scales, we have a very specific protocol for it. It's all very, very short half-life stuff, and none of it ever makes it out. And as an added measure, we run, if we're doing hauling to a sewage authority, we run it back through those scales to make sure that it doesn't trip the sensors.
Yeah, we take the water trucks down
It
because
doesn't matter.
we were like, this is crazy, so we were like, well, I'll tell you one way to check the water is to drive the water trucks past the radiation detectors.
A friend of mine went through there one day. He just had a thallium stress test. Set it off.
It's very sensitive.
No, I mean, I mean, they have like somebody come out and like, it's very legit. I mean,
We are not a...
every water truck goes across that scale and measures on the way out, because we wanted to test it ourselves. Because, you can read anything in the newspaper.
And you're talking about 50,000 gallons a day,
Yeah.
or more.
We would do whatever you would be willing to do, and we would figure out the alternative.
I read about Bell Vernon, they can only handle 25.
We wouldn't deal with, they're gonna, I just don't think they're capable of
What are you doing with the water right now?
We're trucking it to Ohio.
Okay.
Does it cost the authority anything for this?
It would not cost your authority anything, in my opinion.
Are you required to have an NPDS permit? Just curious.
We have an MPS permit for our stormwater,
But we do not discharge.
but we don't discharge into the river directly,
Is
so.
any of that, is anything on the fracking thing, the brine water, is any of that up at your field plant?
So we take some drill cuttings at our landfill.
The cuttings?
Yeah, we take the drill cuttings. We don't take any water.
Yeah,
Just to
that's-
give you an order of magnitude, like, if you had a water bottle from drilling water come into your place and dispose of that, that's like 250,000 parts per million of total dissolved solids. Our water is 7,000 parts per million total dissolved solids. I mean, it's a good catchword with fracking and oil and gas. Just makes a good headline. You know, definitely gets people to come out and talk about it, but in reality, you're just talking apples and oranges. I mean, there's places that take, hundreds or thousands of tons more drill cuttings than us, and other landfills, we take a pretty limited amount of drill cuttings at this point.
I see here back in, were you our solicitor in 1990? Okay. I see back here in 1990, when I did my homework, we had a contract with Westmoreland, and I guess for some reason, I don't know, I wasn't on the board, that some type of way it went away. You know anything about that? What happened?
They went to Bell Vernon. They picked up and left and went to Bell Vernon.
That was long before our ownership,
They left.
So, I think Bell Vernon, very small plant for us. This and the size of your plant, the way it's operated, and then our additional pretreatment steps, I think it's a much better match than what was happening previously with Bell Vernon.
What would be in the, like how much, what would the cost be to bring that water to us?
We currently have a water line directly to the pump station, up Tyrell Boulevard. So, there's, the capital expenditure on our part would be somewhat limited. I'm sure there'd be some touch-up work that happens.
Discharges to the manhole at the top of Tyrell Boulevard.
Okay.
There's a 3-inch plastic line that comes up over the hill.
And it discharges into the Mont Valley Shore Authority manhole, okay, correct?
No, it discharges into the city of Menneson, the Ross Trader Township's manhole. It's not ours.
Okay.
Correct?
You're correct.
Like this question, how would they get it to us then?
Good.
Well, it comes from there.
It comes gravity through.
Oh,
It
okay,
comes through
okay,
the municipality. The statement was it was our manhole. It's not our manhole.
Okay,
It's the
I
municipality's
understand you.
manhole.
Okay.
Mr. Hart, I would like to ask a question.
You made adjustments since you've taken it away from Bell Vernon to the process and everything?
Yeah, we've already installed.
Why didn't you go back to them?
They can't handle the capacity.
They can't handle it, and it's just, they asked us to put.
Did they handle 50,000 gallons a day?
They asked us to essentially they asked us to treat the ammonia, which we did.
But they had no problems for years with you at 50,000 gallons a day.
Correct.
What happened when you went to 200 to 250,000 gallons?
That was the dilemma.
That was the dilemma. So it had nothing to do with what you were doing, it's the size.
And we have flow control now.
It's the size, but also.
So as the fracking goes up, the volume goes up,
I can't.
are they gonna be able to handle the capacity?
Not yet.
Actually,
Well, it takes
the
some-
fracking is, it really has nothing to do with it. Our leaching
know.
quality hasn't changed in 7 years.
The water fluctuation.
Because we had incredible rain events
Flow that
We're
we're
building
not
a new cell.
for those 6 months, and we also built a new
Like
cell.
we
So
have
when we
4
build a
million
new cell, we're
gallon
basically
plant,
creating
taking
a
up, I think it's like
3.5 to 4
400,000 or something
acre
like that.
sump basin with no trash to slow down the waste beforehand. So you get incredible inflows of volume, and that happens every 5 to 7 years for a quarter.
So we're allowed
And
to.
that in combination with
There is
a quarter, yeah, that in combination with Well, that in combination with, but we have flow control now, so we didn't have flow control then. So now we have a flow regulator that will not exceed whatever we put in, and we can use emergency storage.
So all this brought about some tremendous changes.
Exactly, yeah.
And significant investment.
Yeah, so we put in a lot of money, and what we're proposing will be a significant additional investment as well to further make it easier to tolerate.
What's the buildup in the line? Any line buildup in the sewage? We had the same thing in Menneson. There was no line buildup, but we have about a 4-inch diameter through 2 streets. We have accumulation of solids.
So one thing that we could do that would be helpful in that regard would be, we could flow control, and we could also release at night. So when it's a lower, flow times, or if you have higher rain events, we can communicate with the plant, say, hey, look, we're having, we have 1 million gallons of storage over there. So we can store water and release it in times where you have, lower inflow of water. So it allows us to kind of work together in that regard.
You have a 1 million gallon retention tank?
Yes.
1 million.
How about building us one?
If we take the water here, you'll make enough money to build one.
So,
Well, let me ask you a question. So, Ross Traver, I don't know exact numbers. What were you guys paying him a month?
It was 50,000, 50,000 a month. Yeah.
Not saying that, how it would work out here, but if we do go, that can, you may be able to help out with some people's sewage bills.
Is that a tipping fee?
It's a price per gallon.
It's a lot of money.
It's like, penny or 2 pennies, whatever it is.
We're talking about phase 3.
Pardon?
Yeah.
You
Luke,
normally
that's
pay
a
a
lot,
tipping
Luke,
fee back.
that's a lot of money they was getting.
I pay Ross Traver gets a certain amount of my tipping fees, correct?
so as the usage went up 200,000, you would pay 200,000
Mm-hmm.
per month?
I think we ended up, probably the highest we ever paid was 60 or 70, but we were never doing 200,000 gallons like on average. Let's say our average was like, 70,000 gallons a month, and then we're probably around, 60 grand. 70,000 gallons a day, I'm sorry. So, there'd be days you had 200,000 gallons, there'd be days you'd have 30,000 gallons, right? So we've equalized that, right, so that you can have a consistent flow.
So if they were at capacity of 50,000, if you threw them out of kilter at 70. And that's what
Theoretically,
they had the
theoretically
bacteria
it was really the flow.
We're actually not sure, because we haven't been there in a long time, and they may still be having problems. So we haven't been there, we haven't been to the plant
No, they're not having problems right
in
now.
3 to 6 months. Well, that's good.
I know, they're not having problems.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
That's why I was interested in whether if you corrected all these problems, why didn't you go back to them? Since you left us in 1990, you went to them.
Well, I think
you
this is a better
corrected.
long-term, solution anyway, quite honestly.
It's a different group.
And I think, in 1990, we bought the site in 2016. So, I think that, ideally we would, we wanted to be here sooner than later because we realized that that's a small plant. And it doesn't work well, having a landfill discharge leachate into a smaller plant.
And you work with ArcelorMittal too, is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah, I think the concept is not to take, the existing problem that was presented to Bell Vernon and come over here and try to present it, to this authority. I mean, that's absolutely not the case. It's the situation where there was a problem, and these guys are at this point in time willing to spend a lot of money to fix that problem, but look at their best long-term solution. And we have this small, treatment plant next door, a larger one across the river that over the long term, life of the landfill would be a much better fit. But only bringing, to this authority water that's been pre-treated, and more so than that, only bringing to this authority what you guys and your professionals and experts tell us, hey, if you can get your water to meet these parameters, then we're willing to accept it. Presumably you're going to have assistance, and even at that, if there's problems after the fact, then we work with you. But it's not, let's just bring you what we have and then on the go try to fix it. It's, we're going to fix it first. We're going to look to you guys to tell us, hey, look, these are what the parameters need to be. this is what we're comfortable with, this is what our professionals tell us will work for our site, and we don't care about Mount Vernon or anywhere else, and if you guys can get to this point, then we think we can, accept your leachate, and we won't have any issues, and, hopefully, parties can move forward under those terms.
It'll be up to Jason.
Can I make a statement?
That's gonna be up to this board.
Yeah, well, once we get, yeah.
The last time we met, I was under the impression that Jim's discussed of doing similar upgrades.
Let me walk you through kind of what happened, if I can. You were you were good enough to give us the opportunity to kind of prove it, right? We talked about you coming up and doing some testing and seeing how it was going.
And whenever we discussed it,
Yeah.
Jim's talked about making some type of pretreatment.
So we
Okay?
agreed.
And then my comment was, once you do that, then we would look into
So-
it on testing to see if it was compatible to our facility.
So the
And
answer.
that's where I left it.
So
That's
the
where
answer,
we
the
left
answer,
it.
the answer to that question is that that's what we tried to do. We
Okay.
tried to get it approved, to get it permitted, to our site, and put a pretreatment in to our site. If it was up to us and we could just go and buy one, we would do that. It came back to us saying, we need to have a discussion with you related to what the inflow parameters are gonna be before anything gets approved.
Who's,
The DP.
that came from DEP?
We
Correct.
can't do anything without our site, without DEP approval, so we've got a permit in there right now, going on month 6 to upgrade our wheel wash. So it's even things that make a lot of sense, like putting in a very advanced oil water separator and doing some of the things we're proposing here. It just takes a little bit of time with the DEP.
And we had discussions at that point where we believed that we could get it done in a demonstration, and then that changed. So we are, I think that's why we're here today, is to try to create a constructive dialogue to say, hey, look, can we look at the data based upon, these are not, like made-up machines, these are, highly used, proven machines, right? We think that it will address your issues and have no impact on your plant. And we think that it makes good economic sense for your authority based upon the water we're going to be providing you. There's other alternatives that we've evaluated as well that allow us to just, not bring it to any authority and kind of be in control of our own destiny. And we've evaluated that as well, and we could make that investment. But ideally, we're taking trash from these communities around here, and we want to, be able to kind of, reciprocate, traditionally, a lot of authorities like the leachate water, because, it is a good source of income, and it is, if you're not it doesn't put you out of compliance with your NPDES permit, it's a great source of business. So, that's why we're kind of coming here, is to say, hey, look, we think that, if you really look at the data, if you just focus on the data, that the data, provides an answer that is a good opportunity for your authority. And I think that's, how we feel, we've done the work. I understand you guys will do the work, and come up with your own kind of conclusion there. But the math is, in our eyes, kind of math is math. So, I guess we can hopefully work together and, in the next month or so and come up with a solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we'll let our engineer and plant manager and our operator and our lab people look into it and let you know.
Okay, cool.
Was Ross River Authority contacted as well? Did you approach them regarding this?
I talked to Ross River once, like 9 months ago, but I didn't really pursue that at all.
Did they have a reply? Even an initial reply?
It was literally just one kind of in-person meeting that, and they seemed lukewarm. I mean, the problem becomes, quite honestly, is that, it becomes not about science, it becomes about politics and PR, right? So, that's really...
A lot of that goes around, don't it?
Yeah, that's really our dilemma.
With Ross River too, they had a 1 million gallon a day plant, I think, or something smaller than you, and they had capacity, they had very little capacity left. Yeah, it's under that million that wasn't already being brought in by other customers. And, you know, we have the pipe access already with you, with Ross Traver. We'd have to either haul or make a, you know, another pipeline investment, and we didn't really pursue it after that conversation.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very
Good
much.
job.
So
Okay.
should we reach out to you with data, Jason? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, everything should be sent, I would suggest through Tom, and
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, presentation, we have the presentation minutes.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
I'll second. Sorry, Lou.
That's okay.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Shusto?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker? Mr. Beardall?
Sure.
Before you go to this subject, these people out here, they didn't know that this ran in Menneson's lines, did they?
They didn't know what?
They send us something to Menneson's lines. That's, we're looking at what, $20 to $40 million for replacement in Menneson, the pipelines? Maybe they use that as a wedge.
Right.
Right. Look at that, because I mentioned it.
Yeah, but we could take this money and use this for phase 3 of our,
How,
And help out.
How-
But like Lou said, it gotta be,
Long-term
like,
control
it
plan
gotta be
is in order.
legit
here's
water.
the other
Like
thing
you
is,
said, you gotta-
we're 60% of the authority, Menneson.
First generation, as we were.
And what if we had 2 retention
But
tanks?
the one guy,
One for them, and
Yes.
have them build another one for us, build 2 of them.
that's what we're gonna build in Des Moines.
No, I mean, have them, if you would take them.
right,
Have them build a retention tank
they got the
for
money
them.
they got.
And
Not
have them
us,
build
let
one
them
for
do it.
us.
We don't have no cost.
You know, it's
I built something less than them.
Something to discuss.
You know, it's some negotiating, you know, that they smashed Del Vernon. 300,000 gallons per day. They killed all the bacteria that they have, and I know
Vernon
from
can't
inside,
handle it.
I know exactly what happened. It killed the bacteria,
We
couldn't
handle that?
they couldn't get back on top.
if the old.
Did you hear what he said? Oh, they were 30, they were 70, they were up to 150,000 and running 2 or 3 days. And as the capacity go, they kept taking it, and then boom.
We got the big tank over here.
They were out.
They were out.
Yeah, but they say they regulated it to flow that you want to receive it, so they're not gonna be just piling it on. If you tell them you only want 50,000 gallons a day,
Right.
that's what they're gonna send. So you can
Or
regulate that.
25 or whatever, yeah.
There's a lot more to it than just this.
Yeah.
That needs to be
You know,
looked into.
just,
Oh, I understand that, but
one
that's,
of the comments he made was, we can send it to you at night, okay?
well, that's because he brought up about that pipe. He said that pipe was small.
Well, what I'm saying is, in our treatment, we have the best biological treatment whenever we have sewage coming in, okay?
Hot water.
At 7 o'clock in the morning, when everybody's getting ready to go to work. Lou understands what I'm talking about. At 1 o'clock in the morning, we have low flow. I don't want all my flow in the middle of the night like he suggested, okay? And that's just my
Well, he could send,
comments.
they could send the flow anytime.
Yeah.
I understand, you know?
It's gonna be up to, what he
Yeah,
reported.
And he said DEP made these comments to them, okay, in the meeting that we just had with DEP, okay, for plant inspection.
Plant inspection.
And he'll agree with me 100%.
That was 80%.
The majority of our conversation was about the leachate, okay?
Well, let's get on a record. If facts are facts, you have it on record, like he said, put it on record.
Could we, this
No?
50,000
On
gallons a
record.
day,
They've already, that's it.
we can still regulate that to tell them, like, we only want 1,000 gallons an hour over,
Yeah.
2,000
That's the
gallons an
way
hour over
we would have to do the
24-hour
math.
period, or
That's
figure
correct.
out the.
Per hour, X number of gallons per
Per
hour.
hour, yeah.
50,000 gallons gonna change our plant to a plant A. Then your distributors go up even more.
That's the other, it's a good point, Sean, okay?
I didn't hear you.
We're
We are
good.
being plant land.
Okay.
If these 50,000 gallons a day
Why do you even
start exceeding
take us our average over 5 million, then we become an A plan.
Then we're gonna become an A.
Then we gotta
Then we're
implement
Well, we got,
stringent.
gotta deal with it.
the freaking pre-treatment
yeah.
by law, okay, as an A facility. There's more to it
There's
than
more
just.
to it.
We'll have to see how much we
Waving
can
a
take.
check under our
It
nose.
ain't hurting us, cause we didn't say we're doing it. In the
Right.
long run, you gotta look at like he said.
We're just gonna have to
They're-
discuss
They're gonna
this
build
after we
something
get
from
back.
Nesson and Denora. You gotta look at the bigger picture.
One comment I gotta stop with is during our DEP's meeting, okay, I said to him, are you telling me I have to take the leaching? And he said, no, you do not have to take it.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely not, you do not have to take it, okay?
The biggest picture here, like Mr. Hara said, we look at it, we study it, we go over it, we look at it. If it benefits, we can do it. We can't, we can't. But like he said, in the long run, they're gonna do something for both communities, you gotta listen.
Oh, that's
Well, yeah,
I'm not saying no or yes, you just gotta listen.
Well,
to
that's
both
why we
communities.
have everybody look at it.
Have everybody
Like
look
I
at
said,
Let
it.
him send everything to Tom, then Jason and
Whenever
John
we
and
had
Tom and everybody
communication
looks at it.
going on
To it
with
that we
them,
all need to get together.
we
Right.
said, implement
With the board.
your
Yes.
treatment that you want to do, okay, your pre-treatment, and prove to us that it works.
And he asked, okay.
Then we would talk,
Yeah, right.
okay?
DEP.
Now all of us,
Jason.
now all of a
Yeah,
sudden, it's- we gotta give them a requirement.
Yeah, DEP,
Well, you remember
and we're covered.
the first time that they sent us their test results, we were not happy.
Well, they were out of freaking time frame.
Right, the time
remember?
frames were off and some of the values were high. And I cannot believe that they do not test for a BOD.
As- Like I said, this
Bottom
is,
line is, this is.
I mean,
gonna
we
be-
this isn't gonna be done,
Right.
gentlemen and ladies, in 30 days.
No,
I
no.
can tell you that,
Right.
okay?
But we
No
can't
way in
have, we
hell.
can't have some 50,000 BOD coming in here either.
Well, we're not gonna start until, we're not gonna start
Until
until
it is
they.
in place.
This is
I
all
wonder
I
how
said,
much it's costing
we
them
wouldn't
to
start it
send
until
this
they
to
have it in place, and I'll see how it
To
goes.
Ohio,
Yeah.
he's paying 50
It's not
to
approved.
You
Ohio.
wanna ask what
They're
they're
transferring all this to Ohio.
I think you're coming on Cairo Boulevard now.
Couldn't we use the $50,000 a month? Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But not only that, we gotta look at
If
it
you
for both
break
cities,
down
forget
into
that,
time,
gotta make sure
you
it's
have
right.
every time.
Right,
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
a
no
backup
doubt, that's what I
That's to
said.
take it to a
I
facility.
don't worry about that too.
Yes,
Don't,
Mr.
don't talk to you until they get that in place.
What's that?
Don't talk to you
Wow.
until that's
That would be,
in use right now. It's
he
not
said-
workable right now.
Correct, and that's what my question was, is any of this in place? And then they said,
There's, you need
they don't
to
want,
talk
they're
until
not
they
gonna,
get
they're
it.
not gonna install anything until we give them the criteria. And this is just me thinking out loud. off the top.
Yeah.
Why are we gonna give them the criteria? Then that makes, okay, they met this criteria, then we're obligated to freaking.
No, no, no.
we're not
You
obligated.
do, you make it as clean as you possibly can.
Right.
Show us that,
They should
and
be
then we
doing-
would
They should be doing that as a
entertain
landfill.
it.
Everybody don't.
We have our pre-treatment, we have our pre-treatment even, requirements from
I noticed
before.
50 on that ammonium
And they,
nitrogen,
they
ain't
know
never.
what they are.
And our criteria is becoming more stringent.
Right, what's
Okay.
our NH3?
It's up there, Sean has it on
NH3,
them.
we are reporting only.
So whenever they send
Right
us
now,
a new
we are in
permit,
a new
We
permit
gotta get with
process.
our,
So if they
with
know
the lab guy too.
They're gonna put a higher, they're gonna put a nitrate.
Gotta get with everybody, it's not him, get the lab, him,
We don't have
everybody in here, we can't
this.
just,
this guy right here,
Yeah.
is gonna be the main freaking call. That's what
Yeah, I was just
that's
wondering,
his
because
guru.
I just, their ammonia,
That's his-
Reporting.
All right,
ours
next.
was
yeah, let's go.
And when they renewed it the last
Hour
time,
and
they
a half
put
for
it
these
down
people,
like
she never
2.
came here. Come on, George.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on.
Go ahead.
Treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and pay the bills.
I'll second it.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker? Mr. Beardall?
Correspondence.
The first one is a letter from DEP, a water quality permit for the Denora Pump Station upcoming project. Number 2 is a letter received from Gannett Fleming from Carroll Township to DEP, their corrective action report that they submit to us yearly. Number 3 is a letter from CSE Insurance a refund of $928.87 for our workers' comp, the pool that we belong to, got almost $1,000 back. Number 4 is from DEP. Our lab proficiency test has gone through again. And a letter from CSC Assurance, upcoming insurance, says that our renewal premium, the potential for increase. That's all I have in.
On number 4,
Yes, sir.
they approved our lab, or we're still waiting for them to?
That's our once-a-year proficiency test. They send them in.
Oh, the blind samples, and you gotta
No,
send
you
it
send
back.
them out. No,
And it said that the test results did not change your permit.
Right.
Or your lab accreditation.
yeah, that's the blank ones they send in, and we do them and send them back.
Then send them back.
Managers report.
Okay, the first one I'd like to start with, I received a call from James Proton, I think I'm saying his name right, from Mackin Engineering. He wants to meet with us to get some information out of us on behalf of the city of Menneson, our source system mappings that we have of theirs, and anything that might help them about blight mapping, okay? It's for the city of Menneson. I spoke to Councilman Lois Thomas this afternoon to get her approval, which they were okay with that. They said they were okay for us to have correspondence with them. I'm just asking for the board's approval to continue that communication with them on behalf of the city of Menneson.
I don't have a problem with that.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, good talk.
Okay, next one is to new carpet for the office and the conference room from RH Flooring. Was $5,303.58 based on $26.99 a square yard, and they require half down. And I have a purchase order and I think a check that was in the pile. I need a motion to approve or disapprove, please.
I make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second that.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker? Mr. Varela?
What kind of carpet they put down?
We didn't go pick it out yet.
No, they have like 1 yard squares and.
That's an option that we have, but it's been a fiasco, George, for 4 months to try to get someone to even come in and talk to us for carpet. That's the first guy that even, it took months, okay? And then all of a sudden he communicates with you and he wants a check. Slow down now on my end. But we haven't got that far yet. We're gonna, I'm suggesting that the ladies go pick out what they would like, okay?
That's fine.
I don't care about that.
Make sure I can sleep on it.
We had DEP inspection, we got the report back, that's it should have been in communications, but we have a report back. Okay, the DEP inspection report, okay, no issues. If anybody would like to review that?
I always like, who was?
I know you. Okay. Next thing I need to discuss is the large amount of bricks and debris coming in from the sewer lines in the city of Menneson. Okay. It has been inundating our satellite treatment facility, and as you see, the expense that we're incurring from for cleaning of Robinson Pipe, we've spent over $10,000 so far. I just want the board to approve, to know that this is going on, and it's an issue that it's ongoing.
Okay.
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
Let you know that Menneson is aware of what the situation is. Their engineer knows they're waiting on some funds.
We've been in steady contact with them, okay? I know since the week that I've been away, our guys and actually their guys have found various places that there's issues with I don't know if it's Sinkholes or whatever, one's by Exxon, I'm trying to think of the other one, but we've had various communications, we've actually even brought them, the engineer to the satellite facility to show them exactly what we're taking out of the system.
Okay.
Manhole break.
They have to be coming off the manholes.
You see like a light yellow tan brick?
We
Like a
see,
red orange.
we see the reddish.
Reddish.
brick. Yeah.
Andy
red
has
brick.
pictures.
Well, you can see it in the dumpster over there. And actually, the bricks are the minor issue.
We've had
Rocks
concrete
are
blocks
this
and
big,
rocks.
not
concrete,
rocks.
we have pieces of pipe belt with a belt still connected. You know, it's
It's
a mess.
Eventually, something's gonna cave in Menneson.
Well, the water company's coming in.
The amount of debris that's
Around
coming in.
Gibson's, or, you know, First Street to Oneida, they're gonna dig in there where you have that waffle.
Okay.
They're supposed to come in to dig there. And, you may find it, an answer on that.
But we've been in, I just want to keep the board included and informed of what we're dealing with.
Are we getting Robinson for everything
Pardon me?
to clean that out when they?
They're the only ones I think that have equipment big enough to go and have size line.
Menneson's got that going to handle that?
Menneson's trying to handle it themselves. That's on the Menneson. When we get Robinson out, they're only cleaning our facility.
They are not touching nothing on
There's nothing touching the city of Menneson.
No, but I mean, if we get them down there to cleaned out, we don't have to pay Robinson.
Yeah, in our facility,
Whose responsibility is it?
their truck
Ours?
is not strong enough to lift the material.
Okay.
Whose responsibility?
That's what you're
If
asking.
Who's
material needs
Robinson's
removed
or
from our place, it's
Yes,
ours.
That's his truck, ain't,
They're-
can't
So we're doing
separate.
it.
I mean,
But it's
Robinson
their
has a
material
bigger
flowing
equipment,
into it.
Menneson.
more powerful.
So why can't somebody just call over there and talk to them and?
And we do. Whenever
Work
when
it
we're
out.
able to use the CSO truck, we have that communication. Great communication with the city of Menneson.
Yes, absolutely. Their truck is
Okay.
just not, their equipment is just not capable of doing what we need.
Correct.
Okay.
So will we need to help them? I mean, is that what we're?
I'm just informing the board, that's all. And we help them anytime we can, okay? We're trying to come up with every year at this time, we do an LSA application, just asking for the board's approval to do another one, or maybe for some pumps or something like that. But every year we should do some kind of application to get free money.
That's fine.
Okay.
Put my name down there too, 'cause
Pardon me?
I need some of that free.
You don't live in Washington County.
We could only spend it in Washington County, that's correct.
Well, I can run down there and spend it at the mall.
No.
New billing system is coming in on the 23rd of August. And we need, what's supposed to talk to you, to set up for the computers and the new billing system. Amy informed me that she would like to close the office for business that day and maybe the half day prior for computer installation and that kind of stuff. Is the board okay with that?
Closing it for a day?
Not the facility, would still be here.
You mean the office?
The office.
Yes.
So her and Ashley can,
They're coming in to do
Them
training.
come in to doing the training, what
Put
they
it
have
in
to
the
do.
paper, I guess.
Yeah, we have to publish it, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, and also on that note, in today's paper, there's an ad there that, for our open house on August 28th, okay? And it will be purchased,
I see it on
published.
the door.
It is.
That's on it.
Mhm. Okay?
Tom,
Yes, sir.
the bills you send out now, are they gonna be the same?
Yes.
Because they're nice. They're folded correctly, they're easy to tear. I'm telling you that, it's impressive.
really?
Yeah.
Why? Don't you pay your bills?
No, I'm a Greyhound, I get my stuff free.
Okay.
I'm from Menneson, we don't pay our bills in Menneson.
Okay.
Not till the mayor shows up.
Yeah, not to.
Are we going into
You ain't
executive
even
session?
say- Yeah.
What?
Sometime today?
Yes.
Going into executive session? Okay. And the last thing is, we started to look into a new CSO truck, okay? I received a quote today at actually $520, okay? If anybody wants to see a shell shock.
I'll look at you. look at his.
I just looked just to see what we're looking at, okay? I'm not sure this is, you know, it's $75,000.
Are they gonna take out the other one as a trade?
We could do that, that's an option. We didn't, we went there 3 weeks ago,
With this
they sent that in today.
With this
See,
price, I hope
What
they
was
give us
the- what was-
$50,000
do
for the trade
Do you
in.
remember what the price of the old truck was?
63.
It was 62,
That's not that much.
because we looked at that,
That's not that much off.
because that's where we got the specs for this one,
What
okay?
is this for?
It's a CSO
That's a
truck,
replacement for our oldest truck in the fleet.
oldest truck.
It's
We used to have a
So we need-
450,
we
this
need a new
is a
truck?
550.
starting to rust.
We
We're
gotta
in the
replace.
motion of needing to start rotating our vehicles.
Okay, I'm just letting you know that, let me get more communication with them, see on a price on a trade-in, and if that's the way we wanna go, okay?
This is even with that pig, it's not called piggyback now,
Yep.
they call it
It's
North Star.
CoStar.
Coast
That's
Star.
even what
That's
this-
correct,
Wow.
we have to go that way, or we would have to bid it out. Okay, but, let us come back next month with a, better idea of what we have, okay?
Okay.
And we might even, you know, me and Sean even talked about keeping the one we have and just using it whenever we need it, okay? And just getting a smaller vehicle. Because that one only gets 6 miles to the gallon. Or
The new
whatever
one?
it is. No, well, the new one's even bigger, would get less. You know? We're just trying to look at it from a standpoint of, you know, feasibility. You know?
Sure, that's a grant money right in the foot, huh?
That's the one they drive, they drive that one, this every day.
That's correct,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
And you got money put up and park up in town, $200,000.
But yeah, we'll come back with some better numbers. So that was the first move.
Preliminary.
Yep.
You want this?
Okay, that's all I have, sir.
No.
That's
Okay, solicitor's report.
Yeah, 2 items I have to be discussed in session or executive session. First was last month, you recall, gentleman Timothy Falk requested his service address 1592 Meldon Avenue, Denora. He tied into the sewage system with the authority. The board instructed me to take a look into it. What is determined is since it's located within Carroll Township and not within our service area, you would have to actually approach Carroll Township, ask them to adopt resolution permitting that to happen, because you're extending your facility into their service area, and township where we do not currently have it, nor, again, is that part of our service area. So that's the answer I have for you. Tom's asking, he penned a letter, can you send it to Mr. Falk indicating, not necessarily that, but indicating that the approximate cost that would be associated, and I think he said it'd be about $26,500 that he would have to pay.
At least.
At minimum, to have that extension performed. So I don't know if the gentleman wants to proceed with it after that, but that's the letter Tom asked me to review, and
He's asking for a response.
I need a reply from the board as to whether you desire to send that letter indicating, hey, it could be approximately $26,500, here's why, what do you want to do with it? That's up to you to determine if you'd like to have him do so.
Yeah, send him the letter.
And I'm
Let him
I'm
make-
just
yeah.
gonna spell out, the
Yeah.
first thing I'm gonna say is that foremost, it's out of our jurisdiction, okay? And then give him an estimated cost of what he would need. 265 feet of line, approximately $100 per foot, 2 manholes, a PennDOT right of way, because it's in PennDOT, and then the home would have to put in a grinder pump to pump up into the system.
Wow.
Okay?
And a tap-in fee.
And $100 tap-in fee.
No. No.
House is worth $26,000.
You're looking at every bit of $30,000.
It's about a top, yeah.
change his mind.
Oh, yeah, well, restoration, like,
He told me to say it's more than that.
if you can get a permit off of PennDOT to go across.
Well, that's in his part.
They're particular,
That's in
they're
his- You know what I'm saying? You're looking at more, because the house sits down over the hill, and I know the land's shallow there. He would have to cover it.
So that's that issue, and then As you recall, we had a arbitration scheduled for July the 30th here at the plant in the morning. That was settled by agreement at that time. The agreement was signed off on, but will not become effective until his board approves that this evening. So I don't have the agreement with me. I never received a copy of the signed agreement. Mr. Taylor, I think you have one.
I have one.
But I would just ask that the board approve, thank you, the board approve the settlement agreement between utility workers, local 487 and Mon Valley Sewage Authority regarding Skomsky grievance arbitration as per terms and conditions contained in the document dated July 30th, 2019, and again effective August 12th today at this meeting.
I need a motion.
Yes.
I make the motion.
Thank you.
I will second that.
George Henderson, Ms. Tucker. Aye.
Sorry.
Mr. Marisani?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker? Mr. Baradali?
Aye.
Again, the remaining issues were for an executive session.
Okay, one more thing about that. Mr. Skomsky gets $1 an hour more for passing those tests. Do we have to approve that?
It's an automatic adjustment by the CBA.
Yeah, that's covered under the collective bargain.
So we don't have to,
I was just wondering when we should implement that. It's, you know, he technically has a license, but it hasn't been, he doesn't have the certificate. You know, do we wait for the certificate to give him that $1 raise?
What's the normal course? I mean, when you receive certification, then you apply the raise. Pursuant to
and
agreement.
that's why we did not include it in his pay this
Right,
week.
that's fine. I want to see the paper.
we gotta,
That's right.
Sorry,
Lou.
I want to see the paper.
That's right, Lou.
I know we have a letter.
okay.
Hey, Lou, you're a Denora Dragon, baby.
And
You want to see that letter?
I want to
Okay.
see the letter that says, you know.
And one more thing, Tom, we'd like to know if you had any problem with changing the meeting time to 5 o'clock.
Meeting's got to stay at 6.
Okay.
Too early, people won't get off work, and it's inconvenient for them, and I think they pay the bills, and they should be able to come to these meetings.
Okay.
I have no other report unless you have questions.
Okay, engineers report.
One more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
One more thing, and everybody's, I'm thinking, there's a proposal for increase the pension plan.
Yes.
That was on there, okay? I was asked that, get that, I just wanted to submit that to the board.
What are we increasing?
I was asked to see what it would cost to change, normal retirement from 62 to 60.
The actuarial study.
Okay.
What's the bottom line?
It appears, I mean, I didn't have a chance to review this till just directly right now at the beginning of the meeting. It appears to be about $25,000 additional on an annual basis that would increase the salary on a regular basis. Apparently now we have,
We need to take this,
100
table this for now.
yes, I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah,
need further
guaranteed, we need to
analysis.
look through this.
It's 100, appearing employer charges, 100,570 at this point. Under proposal to reduce the availability for retirement to age 60, it appears that there would be a contribution from us, $125,600 annually. Again, that's something I have to clarify. I did not cut this just as well as you did today. So it's something that needs
All
to
the
be.
board members got it when I received it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
had.
I didn't.
It's tough to go
I
through
didn't
all that
receive-
information.
You have a copy, Lou?
Yes.
So I'm gonna review
Yeah,
them,
review
this
it
with
and
the
see
pension
what's-
company, PMRS. And you want me to, I'll report back next month,
Could I
or
add- yeah,
do you
could I
want
ask
sooner
you
than?
a question before
Yes.
we do that?
Yes.
We couldn't actually do this until the new contract, is that correct?
As I'm reading through this, that it would not be effective until then. Retirement.
They told me it could be implemented the day you say yes.
Oh, okay, that's what
Our
he said.
calculations,
Okay.
the calculations assume any increase adopted after January 1, 2019, and be valued as of January 1, 2021. Increase in funding rates will be effective January 1, 2023. But again, I want to clarify it with
Yeah.
these individuals before.
Oh, yeah, fine. Get all the nuts and bolts.
I'm not an
down.
actuary.
That's all, sir.
Engineers report.
First item I handed out to everyone at the beginning of the meeting is the proposed draft flyer that we would distribute at the tour on the 28th. It's a two-sided document. If the board wants to take a look and send me any, and let Tom know any comments or changes you'd like to see made, we'd be happy to make that, but that's just our proposed handout for the tour. Second item is seeking authorization to advertise the bids for construction of the 2018 Nora Pump Station Screening Improvements Project. We propose to advertise it in the next couple of days or so, and for bid opening the day of your next meeting, September 16th, 2019, we'd open bids at 11 a.m. And then we would make recommendation that evening at the board meeting contingent on receipt of bonds and insurances. So I just need a motion to advertise this particular project. This is the project you have LSA funding for the portion of.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Taylor?
Oh, hold on, Sheila. Go ahead.
How many bids you requesting? I mean, you're gonna, if say 3 or 4 come through, how many you gonna look at this time?
You
And
look
the
at
board
it all.
wants to see 'em
Everyone
all.
that's
Yeah,
said
you
it.
look at all of them. You are required to take the lowest responsible bidder.
That's what it says, but then we know that if we feel that they can't do the job, you know, we already going to step it up. But let us see it.
Yeah,
I've never seen a
always
bid yet.
Oh, I think
We haven't opened
Ms. Tucker,
anything up.
this may be the
I've done a
first
lot of things.
bid
bid.
opening.
I don't think you were on the last bid, the last time we
Yeah,
opened. I don't even know if you were on the board
Bid
yet.
for construction
All right,
since you've been on the board.
that's what I need to see it
That's what I said. I
myself.
didn't think she was here yet.
I encourage
We
board members
will
to come
advertise
for
a
the
bid opening
bid
date, and the board members are to be here for the bid opening.
I'll be here.
I know that's right.
No, I gotta see the process.
Okay, what else?
Keep going, Jay.
Did we make that,
No,
did we
we
vote on
didn't
that?
finish that.
Okay, we have to vote on the
Oh, I
motion.
need a motion on
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
Just put action.
it. The next item is for McRandall Company, Inc. They were the plumbing contractor for your long-term control plan, Seneca Street CSO Satellite Treatment Facility. I'm asking for a motion to accept final certificate for payment to them in their for their final pay estimate of $24,113.52. That's the 5% retainage that was being held in their contract until completion. Similarly to last month, it would be contingent payment on receipt of their as-built and closeout documents. So we would notify the trustee to hold off on payment until we have all the required documentation. We're still holding payment to Jones and Horanic from last month until we get all the documents in order. So just again ask for approval, the final certificate and completion certificate for McRandall Company, Inc.
Any motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
For Lone Pine Construction, I have 2 change orders. The first is for, discussed this with the board. We had 2 filter screens installed on each of the chlorination units to filter out the debris that was in the effluent water. Tom had located those screens and ordered them under Lone Pine's contract, so we presented this to the board previous, but this is just the official change order to their contract. It's in the amount of $12,171.27.
I'll approve the payment of the
Change order
change
number
order,
two.
the Lone Pine.
I'll second it.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
Mr. Gardella?
The other is change order number 3. This is for additional antennas and equipment associated with communicating from the control room down to the shed, if you will, where the
Pump station.
sorry, here at the plant where the chlorine equipment is. There was additional antenna and so forth that was needed to communicate from inside the room because of the block and so forth. But it's in the amount of $4,082.97.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
Mr. Gardella?
Next item is resolution number 35 of 2019. It's 2018 construction fund requisition number 10. It's in the total amount of $29,014.68.
I need a motion to approve resolution 35 of 2019.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?
Aye.
Mr. Schuster?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
Mr. Gardella?
Aye.
That's all I have.
Old business? Good.
You said, the last time I was here, you was waiting, to examine the overflow.
Oh, I apologize. So, we have flow meters. We have 4 flow meters in the ground. The original intent was to have them installed for 6 months. They've been in 7 months now. The biggest rain we've captured, which was just here in July, was only about 1.5 inches of rain. Again, I don't suspect we would, I hope we never experience what we did for the one event, but this fall I would hope that we capture a more significant event so that we can determine the EQ tank if one is needed. Right now, the capacity of the pump station that's been exceeded down there has only ranged from thousands of gallons up to the highest number was like 40,000 gallons, which is almost negligible. And there hasn't been any other issues that we're aware of down at that end of town. The pump station, wet well alarms, you've not been getting really for high level.
But they're very brief.
So again, I think the lowering of the weir addressed the issue to a large extent.
We really don't know until we had that rain like we had before.
Right.
Like he says, I hope we never get another 9 inches of rain
9
in 2
inches.
days, yeah.
Correct.
You got
So I'd
tax
recommend
about
that the
anything.
meters remain installed for the, hopefully capture a more significant storm this fall.
What do you mean?
I believe that's all that I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, old business?
Yeah, real quick. I talked to Lou and talked to Ms. Tucker and George. I didn't get a chance to talk to Paul. But the guys, and we don't, I mean, I talked to them, Ms. Tucker, but the guys want to, all like accordance to a long time ago, have their Christmas party together with all of the board, like olden days.
Shouldn't that be on another new business?
Well, I don't
Well,
care if it's
any
old
business.
Any business.
Okay.
But they want to do it, and they want to, you know, we all have the party together. I don't see an issue with it.
I don't see any issue.
All right.
Can we take a vote on that?
I don't think we have to do it.
We'll wait till we get closer to Christmas.
Yeah.
We got a couple months to go.
Okay, update on MuniLink. We did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anna Flooring, we did that. Satellite facility opening, we did that. New business. Compliance report, we did that.
Yep.
Proposed new office training, we did that.
Yep.
Pension proposal, we did that. Adjournment.
Well, no, we
Not
need
yet.
executive session.
Okay, executive session.
I'll make a motion, we go into an executive session at 7:10.
I second it.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Marasini?